How's punters? Welcome back to Best Sports Betting. And today we are taking a look at the Durban July 2020. The big race, or the big day rather, was pushed out thanks to coronavirus and is now going to be run behind closed doors. And we're going to be talking about tips for the big race and a couple of the other races today. And I've got Tim with me. Tim, tell me about yourself.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to team up. We run I myself and three other business partners, we actually run a tipping service, a well-known tipping service in the public eye, Pocket the Winner. We've been around now for about 6 years, and we're taking it day by day and hopefully getting more punters some money in their pocket, and that's why we call Pocket the Winner.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. And Tim's going to be running through the card with us, or I think he's going to be doing most of the running. But where do we want to start off? Let's start off with race 3. We're going to skip the first two. So if you're looking for tips for that, you're going to have to look somewhere else. Tim, race 3, we've got a couple of good runners here by the looks of it. Sovereign Spirit, Thistful. Which is your fancy in race 3? What do you think of that race?
All right. Well, if you look at the race number 3, it's over the 2,200 meters. It's a grade 3. It's one of the first biggest graded races on the day. It's always a very nice race looking at this every year of the Vodacom Durban July, because the Highveld horses really dominate this. It's quite strange to see this because we only have a few Highveld trainers here. Western Fort, which is a Paul Peter inmate, the number 5. Michael Azzi, they bring number 10 down. And then Tristful is actually a very doubtful runner at the moment. He is the reserve runner for the Vodacom Durban July, so he could get in. But if he does not get in, he's going to be a big runner, obviously.
Okay, so he's a reserve runner for race 7 then?
Yes, yeah, he's a reserve runner for the Vodacom Durban July.
So he's basically of the pedigree that, I mean, if he does end up running in race 3, he's a good shot.
He has a really good shot because obviously if the trainers prepped him for the Vodacom Durban July and he doesn't get in there, he's going to try and make amends.
Make the best of what he can, what he's got. Okay, so what's your fancy for race 3?
All right, well, looking at race 3, I have gone with a horse that I think is really on the approve. And that is the likes of Sovereign Spirit. He is the favorite. There is no real value for him at this moment. But if you look at his last run, he ran 2 lengths off a horse called Capero, who's actually running in the Vodacom Durban July. I think this horse is, if he gets well away with Grant van Niekerk around the turn, they're not going to catch this one from the Candice Bass Robinson. He has a really strong build. And that Son of Dynasty he just spreads his wings when he gets down to the last 400 meters. I think he's a worthy favorite, but for the viewers, obviously we want some value. So I've picked up a horse here, number 12, called Pack Leader. The Glenn Gotson, Keegan the Mellow taking the ride. The only concern for this horse, he's drawn wide. He's drawn 12th, and over the 2,200 meters at Gravel, it's a really hard track. To overcome that draw. And if he gets boxed out wide and he's running out 4 wide, 5 wide around that first turn, he's going to struggle to make the placings. But I tell you what, if this horse overcomes the draw of 12, he is tremendous value. You look at his last run, he ran 4th against Capera, but also he was drawn wide. This horse he doesn't get a good draw, but this horse can run and he's a big danger. I think he's tremendous value. If we have a look at the board here,
he's trading at 7.14 for a win, and it's Hollywood bets he's even money for a place.
Yeah, so I definitely think that's great value. If you're playing on the tote as well, I think that's the way to go. Maybe have a few places on him. Richard Keegan the Mellow is a capable jockey, and he knows what he's doing on Pack Leader. So I think that's where the value might be.
Okay, so there we go. So Sovereign Spirit looks set to have a strong run, and then you say Pack Leader for a good outside value bet. Right, let's move on to, I think it was race 4 was the one you wanted to.
That's correct, yeah. Race number 4 now.
Let me bring that up on Hollywood Bets. Yeah. Right, go ahead. So we've got quite a big card here.
Yeah, this is always a very interesting race when it gets down to the July. It's obviously the DSTV Gold Vase. Last year, we saw a Highveld trainer again dominating it with Hermoso Mundo winning it last year. So yeah, this time around, I think I'm going to give a bit of a swinger type of play where you box 5 horses or 4 horses, and you take that and you could make some nice money. You can maybe box them for about $40-50, and you can. Sorry, please cut that out. I have no idea what's going on.
The guy's asking for tips already, Tim.
Please, I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
So, race for the DSTV Vase. I'm going to give 4 selections, which I think is worthy contenders for this race. If you look at number 5, Factor 50, you can't fault his form line. Gavin Larena, he's always aboard this, the son of this filly, should I say, of Marchfield. He knows how to get this one home. I think that's a big runner. If you look at number 7, Sunshine Silk, this could be the value. Loves the long distance. Can stay all day. Then if you look at number 10, Pomander, which is a Mike de Kock, Cullen Murray. I was quite sad to not see this horse run last week. He was carded. It got rained out, so it got abandoned. But I do think Pomander, I haven't seen his run, his prepped run for this race, but I think if he's good enough, he'll be right there. And then maybe a horse like number 13, Imperial Ruby. We all know Corne Spies. He brings his horses down ready to win. He's not here for a cup of tea. So I think Imperial Ruby, Craig Zaki, obviously, he does all the riding for Corne Spies. And this horse also looks like he can stay all day. So yeah, I'll just sum it up: 5, 7, 10, and 13.
Right, so 5, 7, 10, and 13. So some nice outside value you've picked there. You haven't gone with too many heavy favorites, at least.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the favorites here? Dynasty's Blossom and Taponoff.
All right. Well, I think let's first touch on the top weight, which is Taponoff. The Vaughan Marshall inmate. It's been really disappointing season. And I'm quite surprised the bookmakers are actually keeping this as a favorite. I know I'm definitely going to advise some of the international clients to actually have a lay bet, which is not available in South Africa yet, where you can actually bet on a horse to lose. I think this is actually tremendous value for this favorite to run and place. I'm quite confident he's not going to run. He's not going to run according to the boards. He will not make the top 4. Taponoff has been really horrible in the lead up to the season. He's not a horse he was 2 seasons ago. And Donovan Dillon, he does struggle on the big days, but nothing against him as a jockey, but just it hasn't been clicking. And even with a plum draw of number 1, I don't think he's gonna be there.
So no value on the top 2. Right,
no value on the top 2. No, you know what? Dynasty's Blossom is a very capable horse, and he knows how to run over the 3,000. You can maybe include him if you want, but I think Taponoff, write it down. You don't need it.
Okay, thanks, Tim. All right, so let's move on to race number 5. Race number 5. What do you have for us here? It's quite a small field, I'd say. I mean, I'm not the sharpest horse riding punter here, but compared to the previous race, I mean, this is looking like a much smaller field.
Yes, yeah, this is a bit of a smaller field. You know what? I always like to look at the history of the Durban July, because as they always say, history will repeat itself. It's quite a funny saying, because in horse racing it does happen quite often, especially on the July day, with most of the races getting renewed for another year. It's for the 2-year-olds, and Sean Terry in the horse racing industry is known for getting a 2-year-old ready to win. I'm referring to the number 1, and I'm giving this to your viewers because I'm giving this as a really bullish, confident, best bet on the card. I'm giving it away for free, but as the betting suggests, it's already actually right in front of your eyes, but I'm really confident. You can hook some doubles into this horse. But yeah, let me quickly go into detail.
It's a really short price at even money, though.
Yeah, you know, look, he's very short, and he's a worthy favorite because he's going to give you a run for your money. And I think if you watch the race and you look at the last 400 meters and he's in front, you can go and cash up. I'm really confident.
So is there anyone you'd like to kind of box him in within this race? If you were to pick, let's say, first and second,
yeah,
maybe for those wanting to take a swing.
I would go definitely for 1 and 6. Sent by Destiny was ultra impressive, running now on the 25th of June. We beat a pretty decent field on turf. He's looking like he's prepped well for the Durban season. And Candace Dawson, she always gets a winner. So I think maybe the 1, the 6, if you're really looking for some value here, I'm tipping a 50-1 here, but I'm not making any promises. Number 8, Jasmine. If you just look a little bit closer to this horse won on debut at 40-1, came out then in a bit of a classy race, which is the listed race, and ran a creditable 5th, but wasn't really there as was on debut. But this filly of Fatura, she can run. She has a lovely action, a lovely movement, and I know she's really highly priced, but I do like her. So maybe if you can try that. But ultimately, I would just say maybe hook this into some of the rest of the fancies of your
Okay,
fancies on
yeah.
the card.
So basically, what Tim's saying is keep it as kind of a banker,
Yeah,
something
that's
that you want
basic,
to squeeze
100%.
a little bit of value out on.
Of
Maybe
course.
some other short odd bets. Maybe you find a place bet somewhere else that's close to even money
Well,
or
I'll be
shorter than
giving you a
even
place
money.
bet, so I'll definitely be taking a multiple. I'll suggest just in a short
That's
while now.
fantastic. Well, never
Also,
mind. Yeah, go
obviously,
ahead, Tim.
now saying that this is a banker, this is 100% a banker. You know, we have a carryover of a 16 million rand pick six. So you know what? I think take your chances. Banker Karoluma. Just quickly touching on Karoluma. Sean Terry, he's wonderful with a Pomodoro.
I remember
Yearling.
Pomodoro. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So this horse can run. On debut, won 4 lengths, then gave him a bit of a rest, took him down to KwaZulu-Natal. So he's already been in Durban. He just demolished the field. He won by 4 lengths, and now he's here for the grade two to take some big money for the owners. I think this was going to take a power over beating.
Okay, fantastic. Well, you've heard it there. That's the banker for the card. Let's move on to the big race, shall we, Tim?
Yes, yeah. Let's
The
go a
one
little
that
bit
I'm
in.
sure all of our viewers are tuning in for.
There we go.
And yeah, let me just quickly run through a few of the big names that someone like myself, who's not the biggest horse racing punter, that does recognize. Rainbow Bridge, you have to recognize. Do It Again. Those are the two that really stand out on the card for me. Vardy as well. Those are ones that just jump out as someone who doesn't follow the horse racing too closely, but names of horses that I know have done well in the past. Twist of
Yes.
Fate as well is one that I'm somewhat familiar with. But yeah, tell us a bit more about the big race here. What's your thought on this card?
Well, I think you actually summed it up quite nicely. You know, sometimes with this big hype of the Vodacom Durban July being run, obviously they're running for big prize money, and everyone knows it's the race of the country for the year. But you know, sometimes, especially with a lot of tipsters and a lot of people out there, they try and look for value too hard. Well, they miss the money maker right bang smack in the middle of your screen. I think you've summed it up quite well. I think it's going to be between number 2, Rainbow Bridge, Do It Again, and Vardy. I think they are the 3 main contenders. But also, there's a lot of talk for the number 17, Bulgarian, which is a Justin Snaith, Richard Ferry horse. But I'm just quickly going to go a little bit in depth, and then we'll just I'll show you my input. So number 1, Golden Ducat. There hasn't been a jockey declared for this, but it's drawn really well. It's well at the weight, carrying 53. Eric Sands. This horse is really not a bad horse. He's never disgraced himself. He runs really well. He hasn't been on the improving side for the July. That's what writing me a little bit off, but I won't be surprised if this horse runs his heart out and runs in the top 5. Then we go on to Rainbow Bridge. I think this horse, it's a worthy. I think this is currently the favorite. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a favorite. It's trading at 3.57 on Hollywood. That just seems a little bit short though for a July day. I mean, I've seen a couple favorites fall
Definitely
in July.
And you know what? I do agree with you, but I do think this tier around, I think he's the worthy favorite. I think he's the price they've priced him up with. I think they're being cautious because I think a lot of big punters are going to try and put them into bankruptcy with the Rainbow Bridge.
So you think that's going to get smashed in again?
I think Rainbow Bridge he'll run what his money market is worth. If he's odd favorite, it's gonna take a good horse to beat him this year. He ran last year second to Do It Again. Now a lot of people will say, well, why can't Do It Again do it for the third time in a year? First of all, that'll be history in the making. It takes a really good horse to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm not saying Do It Again is not. He's won it 2 years in a row. Don't get me wrong. All credit due where it's due. But Justin Snaith hasn't been really getting this horse into the same actions he has in the past 2 years where he's actually won the July. He's quite off form. He ran a really nice race a month ago where he ran third to Rainbow Bridge. But if you look at that race, which is the Hollywood's Gold Challenge, it was a grade 1. And you look at that race, Rainbow Bridge was cruising around that turn. He wasn't pushed. He wasn't asked the question. And I just think this time around, I think for connections, to run second in the July, no one remembers your name, but Rainbow Bridge is coming back for vengeance. And I think Rainbow Bridge is a worthy favorite, and he's going to be hard to beat.
So Rainbow Horse, the Rainbow Bridge rather, the horse
Yes.
to beat rather than Rainbow Bridge. Yeah, okay. So that's trading at 3.57. 3.57. It opened at 4. You can get 0.57, so just under 6 to 10 a place. Do you think there's any value on taking a place there if you're not confident on the win?
I think if you're going for a favorite in the Vodacom Durban July, like you said, it's already short. I think go for the win, or maybe
No,
put your
that
head
makes
behind
perfect sense.
behind your legs.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Rainbow Bridge. I think have a win bet. If you're gonna bother with places, you're really gonna need to book that off of a lot of other horses to actually get a good return on your bet.
And you're also going to want to bet at a bookmaker that is offering a lot of places.
Exactly. Okay, and then obviously we move on. I'm gonna touch on a few of them. Padre Pio, which is the Dennis Bosch inmate. Look, there's nothing. He hasn't really put a foot wrong, but there's nothing to write home about. He hasn't really beat a lot of great horses. If you look at his last 2 wins, it was against Pollard and Caliente. They're both graded horses, so he's really going to need to step up if he wants to win the Vodacom Durban July. Miyabi Gold, Justin Snaith, King of the Mellow. This horse last year also a gallant in defeat. He ran 5th in the Vodacom Durban July last year, 5th or 6th if I might be mistaken, but I know he was in the money. I think he can run the same type of race. He's not a bad horse. He won really well on the 20th of June at Greyville. So he's been prepped well for the race, and Keegan the Mellow can get him in for the money again in the top 10 maybe, or in the top 5. Then if you look onwards, a horse like Socrat, there's a lot of talk about Socrat, and if you look into his form, he's not a bad horse, but they always say the Greyville track around 2,400 meters is brutal, because that uphill gets you. And I actually think this year, behind closed doors, this would actually benefit a horse like Socrat. He really plays up when it gets to a lot of crowd around him and the noise and all that. So this could play into his hands.
Well, there's not going to be too much noise at this July.
Exactly. And
Everyone
Socrat
thinks about it.
I think it's going to be a lot of noise in the household, but not at the race.
Yeah.
So Socrat, this could actually play into his hands. He likes a horse. He's a horse that needs to be taken down to the gates, nice, slow, taking its time, but it's a really nice horse. But I just don't think it's going to get to the 2,400 meters. I think it's a bit of a stretch, and I think Mike de Kock is taking his chances. But as they say, you need to have a ticket to win the lotto.
Okay, and we've got Socrat trading at 12.5 and 2-1 for a place, which is not too bad for a place when you look at the rest of the field.
Well, if you like the horse, I do think it can run a place, yeah. Then going on to a horse you said you fancied it a little bit, which is called Twist of Fate.
Yeah, one of the ones that I instantly recognized.
Yeah, so Twist of Fate is actually Adam Marcus, switched trainers from Joey Ramsden last year to Adam. He hasn't really found his feet yet, but he's never ever disgraced himself. He runs a race and he earns. He's like an ATM for the owners.
Just prints money.
Because he'll always be in the money. And when you put a place bet on him, you can really shout him home because he's going to give you a real good run for your money. And I think that's the type of horse he is. It sums it up. He might just be a little bit unlucky of not winning, but he's always there. He's always in the top 5, in the top 6, because that's the type of horse he is.
Right, fantastic. So Twist of Fate seems like a decent one for a place as well. Just looking at some of the form and the price.
Yeah, I think what is he trading?
2.6 for a place, and
that's
just
really
over
nice.
16.6 for a win.
Okay, and then we move on to. I'm not going to touch too much on Shango. I think he's a little bit out on the date. Yeah, I don't think he's going to really run well. With all respect to the trainers and owners involved in Shango, I think it's going to take. He's going to really need to step up to win this race. We move on to Capera. I think he was ultra impressive in his last win, but I think Andre Nel might be pushing the limit a bit too far here, trying to win the July with this horse. Look, it's the July, it's horse racing, anything can happen, but I can't see this horse winning for me. Then my place bet for the Vodacom Durban July and for the punters that I'm going to hook into some doubles and trebles. I'll definitely be including Vardy for a top 3 place. I think it's Adam Marcus, it's stable companion to Twist of Fate. Craig Zaki has been partnering this horse from day one. He knows how to ride this horse. He's drawn decent on the outside. Vardy is a horse that gets into the race. He's at the back. He switches off completely. And then Craig Zaki just gives him a smack or two and he starts winding and he flies. So I think Vardy today, I think he's a penalty kick. I'm not sure what price you can get on him. Maybe not at the bookmaker, but go have a place bet on him on the tote. I know the tote's offering 6 places on July day, on the July race. But Vardy is, I think he's going to run a big race and he'll be in the top 3, top 4.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Tim. And then we're going to move on to one more race I believe you had covered. That was race 10.
Yes, that's race 10. And then obviously, just before we move on, obviously, due respect to Do It Again and
Oh, yes.
Belgarian, because they are the lowest weighted, but they're going to have to overcome draw 17 and 18. But yeah, they can also be in the money. They can also win this July.
Okay, great.
Right, we move on to there we go. Then just move on to just race 9. Just have one little bit of a value bet for you guys. It's a bit of an each way bet. It's number 8. The Michael Roberts inmate. Ad Altissima. I hope I'm saying that correct.
Yes, Ad Altissima.
There we go.
I
Ad
think so.
Altissima. That sounds more correct. So, Ad Altissima. I think Michael Roberts, Gareth Wright. I think he's great value for an each way bet. I like that one on the card. I'm going to touch too much on the form wise, but I think he's
value for a win, or what are your thoughts? Just straight win.
I would say have a win nibble, and then back up with some nice places, because I think I don't think he's the favorite, is he?
No, you're not going to get hurt too badly at 14.2. So
no, that's great value. So definitely have an each way bet on that.
And then the favorite in 9, Cartel Captain. You don't think he's a strong contender?
I think Cartel Captain is a really strong contender, and he's a worthy favorite, but he's really well rated, and he's carrying top weight, and that's why I think it might just swing into the place of the lighter weighted horses, and that's why I'm leaning towards the 8. So if you want to have a swinger, go and take 1 and 8. I think you won't get hurt. Obviously, include the Mike the Cock horse number 3 as well if you're trying to go a little bit bigger.
All right, and then the last race was 10.
Yeah,
finally the one that I was calling earlier, but
so yeah, race number 10 now. I think there's some value in number 1, Orpheus, from the Michael Azzi. I think this horse he's a very unlucky horse. When I looked at this horse winning in his earlier stages of his career, I always said to myself, I think this horse is going to go on and win a graded race. He's going to win some big money for his owners, and he has done that, but he hasn't prevailed in the big races. Where the prize money is huge. He always gets someone to beat him. But if you look at his past form, he has a strike rate. He's run 15 times. He's won 5 times. He's placed 7. He has this season he's only run once, and he has 100% strike rate in places. His win rate is 53% for a horse that's extremely high. So I think Orpheus, on his day, he's a horse that not a lot can beat. So I think if he's primed and ready, he has his niggles, he has his problems, but if he's primed outright and Gavin gets him to a nice position, I think Orpheus can end the day on a nice profitable note for us.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Tim. So let's just quickly sum up some of the best bets on the card. Obviously, race 7, you had a fancy for Rainbow Bridge.
I had Rainbow Bridge, yeah, and Vardy for a place.
So those are the two big tips for the big race. And then what would be your other one, other than, I think it was Camp? Well, I'm not going to try and pronounce all these names, but the Caraluma. Is that right?
That's the correct one.
So Caraluma would probably be your biggest bet or best bet.
Well, it's going to be my bank and everything. If Caraluma wins, it's going to be a great July. If he doesn't, I think we'll just have to turn the TV off a bit earlier.
Well, we'll have a couple more races to at least make up any losses that we have on Caraluma. I think I pronounced that one correctly. So Tim, before we end this off, why don't you tell us a bit more about your service? I mean, you're obviously quite knowledgeable about horse racing. You're speaking on a level that's much higher than mine. So, Tim has a tipping service, and I was hoping he'd tell us a bit more about it and how it works, some of the costs involved, and those kind of things.
Oh yeah, great, thank you. Well, it would not be possible to run Pocket the Winner by myself. I have a wonderful team behind me, which is Andre and Liam and Russell. We've started this business about 6 years ago. The main tipster is Andre. He's actually been tipping for a lot of the old gokes would know. He tipped for the Citizen. He then started his own business and made that into Pocket the Winner. It's been really successful. The public eye it's well known in the public eye. We do have a website, which is www.pocketthewinner.co.za. On there, you can buy a membership. We have the gold and the premium. The premium membership is a bit more for the bigger punters, which like to really put a lot of money on a horse and get some big wins. The gold membership is something for the punters that enjoy the pick six, the jackpot, the bipot, all the exotics, and the daily punting. And then obviously we have some great specials for a lot of people getting involved, like the Durban July, the Sun Met, the Queen's Plate, all these big races around the globe. We have some specials for them, like the Vodacom Durban July. You can find it 300 Rand for a full month, so that's 50 days. And yeah, that's basically it. And then as soon as you subscribe, you get a login. You can view the tips on the website, or we can send it daily to your WhatsApp in a PDF form. And and all in the hopes to make the punt a little bit more knowledgeable, and obviously get a few rands back in its pocket.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for coming on and sharing your July tips.
Thank you very much for having me.
For those that would like to check out some of the tips, I will put a link in the video description, and I will also have had the site up on overlay while you're watching this video. Guys, thanks for tuning in for this Durban July 2020 preview. I'd like to thank Tim for coming in and sharing some of his tips. Have a great July, everyone, and I'll catch you next video. Cheers.